the church was all upset. They thought that the Lord had come. They missed the coming of the Lord, and they were very upset. So Paul said, don't be alarmed, don't be unsettled, because the day of the Lord will not come. Now, it won't come until some things happen. And verse 3 tells us about that.
Let no one deceive you by any means, for that day will not come unless the falling away comes first, and the son of sin is revealed, the son of perdition.
Now, as I mentioned to you, I was going to tell you as we go along here, what verses seem to lean toward a rapture at different times. This particular verse kind of makes us believe that it's going to be sort of in the middle of the tribulation, because it's going to happen when the man of lawlessness is revealed, the man doomed to destruction. Now, he is going to be revealed in the middle of the tribulation. Tribulation period starts and it goes for 3.5 years, and then you have the man of sin is revealed, and then you have another 3.5 years of severe tribulation. This is very mild type of labor pains, and this is what they call transition, when the labor pains become extremely strong and powerful. And this is the hardest part of the tribulation. Now, there are many people that believe that when that man of sin is revealed, the church will be raptured. This one verse seems to point to that, as it says, don't let anyone deceive you. Anyway, the thing that has to happen at first is the day will not come until the rebellion occurs. Now, that's another problem we have with this chapter. The rebellion occurs. What rebellion, Paul, are you talking about? Because he doesn't say a rebellion, he says the rebellion is going to occur. So what is Paul referring to? Now, as I said to you earlier, the reason why we're sort of left in the dark is, we'll come back to this in a minute, but let's look at verse 4 for a minute.
Who opposes and
I'm sorry, excuse me, verse 5. That's it.
Can we read verse 5?
Yeah, please.
Do you not remember that when I was still with you, I told you these things?
Okay, now this is the reason Paul is not explaining all of these things. He says, don't you remember when I was with you? I told you about all these things. I told you about the rebellion. I told you about the catching away. I told you about the man of sin. I told you about all those things. So he's not going to repeat all that information in this letter. And someone says, well, that gives us not enough information. The truth of the matter is we have all the information we need right here in the scripture. It is, if God wanted us to have all that information clearly, he would have given it to us at this point. But he's only giving us certain things. And so some of the things when Paul makes a statement like the rebellion, we're not really sure what he's talking about. We're not positive what he's talking about. We have some ideas of what he's talking about. So we're going to look at some of the ideas of what might he be talking about when he talks about the rebellion. So that day is not going to come. The day of the Lord is not going to come unless the rebellion comes first. Now, I want to propose a couple things in terms of what that word means. First of all, the word itself is apostasia, which we get the word apostasy from. Apostasia is a falling away, a rebellion, a becoming apostate, moving away from the truths that you embrace and know and love. That does happen, and it happens, and there's a number of scriptures that talk about that and clearly show us that there is going to come this falling away. And let's look at a couple verses. Matthew chapter 24 and verses 10 to 12 talk about it. At that time, many will turn away from the faith and will betray and hate each other. Isn't that awful? That's prophecy. That's one of the things that's going to happen. Many will turn away from the faith, and they're going to betray and hate each other. Verse 11. And many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. verse 12. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of many will grow cold. Now, Jesus is speaking here about apostasy. The love of many will grow cold. Why is that going to happen? It's going to happen because there will be an increase in wickedness. As wickedness increases, the love of many will grow cold. So we have to be very careful, and Paul identifies a rebellion or an apostasy, and this certainly describes an apostasy. It talks to us about an apostasy, the love of many growing cold. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verses 1 and 2 is another verse that talks about the apostasy. The Spirit clearly says, in the latter times, some will abandon the faith and follow deceiving spirits and things taught by demons. Verse 2. Such teachings come